In these problems, we're looking at different ways to display data, so different kinds of charts and graphs and how to read them. This first one has a circle graph, and it says, the following circle graph was published in the Kane County Annual Report. And then there's a label here that says ages of registered voters in the county. And then each sort of pie wedge here is labeled over 60, 30%, 18 to 34, 10%, etc. And then the question is, if there are 34,690 registered voters in Kane County, how many age 18 to 34 years old? So we're looking for the number of 18 to 34 years old. What this graph tells us is the percentage, which is not the number. First thing I want to do is find out what that percentage is. Here's 18 to 34, and it's 10%. So what we want to do to figure out the number of voters is 10% of this total, or 10% of 34,690, and of, almost always in a math problem means multiply. So we're going to multiply 34,690 by 10%. But before we do that, we need to convert this 10% to a decimal. And the way we convert a percent to a decimal is we move the decimal place point 2 places to the left. So 10% is really 0.1. So 0.1 times 34,690. We're multiplying by 1/10, which is the same as dividing by 10. You could plug it in this way on your calculator, but what you're going to get is 3,469. That is 10% of that total, and that's how many 18 to 34 years old voted in the county, or the registered voters in the county. All right, let's look at the next one. This one says, refer to the election tally sheet. I guess these are all about elections, huh? To answer questions A and B. And then we have this sheet that says vote totals and names of candidates, I guess, and then tally marks. The first question says, the second place candidate received how many more votes than the fourth place candidate? And I guess the first thing I want to do here is put these into numbers, because I have a hard time just looking at the tally marks and comparing them that way. So let's go ahead and count these. Remember, these bundles when you're working in tally marks are worth 5. There's 4 little marks and 1 mark across. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's 22. We'll just go up here. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. 5, 10, 15, that looks like 19, 10, 12, and 11. And now we're being asked to compare the first place the second place and the fourth place candidates. So let's rank these two. The person who got the most votes is Terry. She got 22. The next would be Joyce, so she's in second place. Third is Julie. Fourth is Paul, and fifth is David. Okay, now we can compare them. We want to compare second place and fourth place and say how many more votes did second place get than fourth place. So that's 19 for second place and 12 for fourth place. We just subtract there. 19 minus 12 is 7. So the answer to that first one is 7 votes. Next question. What fraction of the votes did Paul receive? Paul got 12 votes, but to get a fraction, we have the part, which is Paul's amount, over the total. So I know what's going to go on the top of my fraction already. It's going to be 12, but what's on the bottom? Well, we have to add all of these together. So let's see. We have 11 and 19. That's 30, 42, 59, 81 looks like. So this would be 12 out of 81, and I think I can take a 3 out of both of those. So taking a 3 out of 12 would be 4. Taking a 3 out of 81 would be 27. And I don't think they have any more factors in common. So the fraction of votes that Paul received would be 4/27. Let's look at one more. In this question, we see a histogram, and this is something you should have seen before. A histogram is a kind of bar graph, and the heights of the bars show some piece of data. In this case, it's the number of students in a particular group. And then the width of the bars show some other kind of data. In this case, it's time, ranges of time, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. They're all 10-minute widths. And it looks like, from the question here, that this histogram shows how many minutes the students walked during a fundraising walk. So there were, let's just look at this first one. In the 10 to 19 category, there were 3 students who walked that much. The question we're having here is how many students walked for 30 to 39 minutes. So you want to find the 30 to 39 minutes, and actually the only tricky part about this one is making sure you've got this lined up right, because these numbers are written on a slant, so you might, is it like pointing to this one or is it pointing to that one? And the way I would do that is maybe draw a line. I know the first one here in the graph is going to be the first one here on the number, so I'm just going to attach these with lines. Okay, there we go. So that legend is just a little bit confusing, so I wanted to straighten that out first. So this is the 30 to 39 category right here. It's the tallest one, and it goes up to, well, it looks like 10. So 10 students walked for 30 to 39 minutes. So that's the answer to that one.